Arch Advocate Podcast, YouTube version. New Zealand issues a warning to people that 10 years in prison you can get for having a copy, for having downloaded and possessing the video footage of the ChristChurch attack. 14 years if you share it. Now this is exactly what I'm talking about. Let me get into this. New Zealand authorities have reminded citizens that they can face up to 10 years in prison for knowingly possessing a copy of the New Zealand mosque shooting video and up to 14 years in prison for sharing it. Corporations such as web hosts face an additional 200,000 whatever Kiwi dollars, which is the equivalent of $130,000 fine under the same law. Now think about this. Think about this. You're being directed. We are being herded like sheep or cattle. And I'm going to get to that. Now, just think about this. Stay with me now. You can get fined. You can get thrown in prison for having a copy of that video. 10 years. You can get 14 if you share it, right? Now, this isn't some weird, some type of pornography that you're not supposed to have and you know it. This is a video of something that happened that is in the news. This happened to all of us. This guy went onto Facebook Live and did what he did. This isn't, right? This happened to the whole world. It happened to all of us. We were all made to be aware of this. So if you're going to throw somebody in prison, right? New Zealand is a westernized country. In all the Western countries, we all abide by the same laws, right? If I go down to Australia or New Zealand, if I commit a crime, my government is going to tell me, the government of the United States is going to tell me, you're on your own, kid, as long as they, abide by, certain rules, like, due process and that sort of thing. You're on your own down there because we all, we're all part of the club. We all get it. So if New Zealand is gonna go after somebody criminally and throw somebody in jail, in actual prison, not just Facebook jail, but real jail, shouldn't it be Mark Zuckerberg? But of course not. Of course they're not going to hold him criminally liable for what he created in creating the platform which this guy used. One, because it would create a freedom of speech problem that they don't want to face. And two, they don't have the money. Mark Zuckerberg could fight you in court and win. Instead, they're going to go after you, the little guy. Now, again, if you have this video, right? There's a lot of people that have this video because they saw it, they wanted to download it, they knew that it was going to be getting scrubbed, and so they downloaded it. And now they're saying, well, if you're in New Zealand, we can throw you in prison if you have this thing that everybody is aware of. Listen, this is why you need to be aware of this. Again, everything ties into everything. There is a huge power grab going on right now in the world between the people that are in government power and the citizenry. Guy Verhofstadt, whatever his name, he's constantly in the EU trying to tell the whole world, he literally said, give your sovereignty to us. This whole thing, look at how you and I were all being herded into this thing where it's like, oh, if you point out any of the bad things that happen in Islam, then you are an Islamophobic and that's bad. You're a racist. You're an Islamophobe. You're a white male. Do you see what I'm saying? It's wizardry. Listen, I can criticize whoever I want. I'm a Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I spend most of my time spent criticizing people. Most of that time is spent criticizing Christianity. The current state of Christianity. Right? I criticize the Pope. I criticize people in the Catholic Church that go along with it. I criticize Protestants. I criticize Joel Osteen, Creflo Dollar, Westboro Baptist. Certainly I criticize Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. I do it all day. Anybody have a problem with that? No, of course not. Nobody says, oh, you're a Christophobe or whatever the term would be. Nobody says anything like that. If I criticize the fact that there are Buddhists who are actual terrorists, like in Thailand or whatever, guys that go and detonate bombs and kill innocent people, if I criticize those people, we don't really talk about that. What is this hard on that people have when it comes to Islamophobia? Why is it that people are trying to convince you that you're a bad person if you point out like, oh, wait a minute, September 11th, 19 people, all Muslims, all from Saudi Arabia, they attacked us. There's over 40 million people living in slavery right now, and every single one of them is in a Muslim nation. You point those things out, oh, you're an Islamophobe, you're a bad person. I will criticize whoever I want. And this news story of this guy down in ChristChurch who goes in and kills a bunch of innocent people, innocent Muslims who are most like my friends who are Muslims, because I have Muslim friends, I have Jehovah's Witness friends, I have Mormon friends and Catholic friends, I have Buddhist friends, I have friends from all over the world. Guess what? I'll criticize every single one of them to their face because they're my friends and I'm not a pussy. You understand that? You have to stay resolved in your ability. You must know that you are free to speak. You have a voice. God gave it to you. You've had it since birth. Therefore, you know that it is God that gave you that voice. The right and the obligation to use it. You can speak. And if somebody comes along and says, oh, you're an Islamophobe, it's like, fuck you. What does that mean? What does that even fucking mean? Islamophobe? You mean I'm afraid of Islam the way that some people are afraid of spiders or heights? Or whatever it is that people are afraid of? Is that what you're saying? That I have some sort of mental illness? Because we just found a terrorist training camp, a Muslim terrorist training camp in New Mexico on U.S. soil. And there was a little innocent baby that was found dead and buried at that camp. You don't want to point out the fact that those people were Muslims? Why? Why does any fact have to be excluded? Should we not take in all of the facts? And as far as this New Zealand thing, New Zealand coming out and the police coming out and saying, hey, if you have this thing, if you have this news, this isn't some sort of contraband thing. This isn't heroin. This isn't child pornography. It's not state secrets. This is a news story that happened to the world. We all saw it. It happened to everybody through Facebook. And the fact that they're not going to go after Facebook. And by the way, nor should they. Nor should they. Right? I am no champion of Mark Zuckerberg by any means, but it's like, no, you can't go after him. He just provided a service to where he could live stream his life. Facebook offered that. It's offered to everybody. Eventually, something like this was going to happen. If you didn't want it to happen, if you could not predict the future, which this is inevitable. That's not the last time that's going to happen, people. Somebody else is going to do some nefarious shit. All those beheadings when the Muslims were cutting people's heads off. You couldn't see that there was going to be the counter to that at some point. If you didn't want it to happen, you should have gone and said, hey, Mark Zuckerberg, no live streaming in New Zealand. And instead, you're going to go after individuals who don't have enough money to fight you in court for years and years and years. You're going to threaten people with prison time if they have a news source. You know what I mean? If they have the original news story in their possession, that's cowardly, and you're coming after people's rights to free speech. You people of New Zealand, stand up for yourselves. Stand up. Do not cower to your government, who is right now on a gun grab. Your prime minister was seen there wearing a hijab, and already she's talking about taking people's guns away. There's only one way that this ends, people. And it's not hard to predict which way it's going to go. There's a fight coming. And this maniac, this loser that acted like a lone gunman, listen, this is exactly what they use. This is why you cannot be an independent agent, like a lone gunman. You know what I mean? You can't do that. These people like this guy, they come to this great realization, like, oh, I'm gonna fight the enemy on my own terms. It's like, no, you're not. You are going to be the evidence that they use to say all white people are bad, all Christian people are bad. That's exactly what this guy did. You must come together in community. Come together in community and be of unified purpose. Stick together. It's unbelievable. New Zealand, do not let your government push you around on this one. Come together. You stand up for yourselves. That's the show. Listen, hit subscribe, would you please? Hit subscribe and follow the daily podcast. It's 5 days a week. It's there's links down to the bottom of last Thursday or Friday show. You can join the show there. Leave comments. I answer all of them. Listen, you guys have a good one. And I will be posting. I'm sure I'll be posting more about this story as time goes on.